Let's talk about some last minute injury news and updates going into week 5. Let's kick it off with some injury news in Detroit. Detroit is dealing with a bevy of injuries. Number one is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is deemed doubtful to play with an abdominal issue, and he did not practice all week. Even though Dan Campbell is still saying they'll have an update within 24 hours, it does not seem likely. Unfortunately for Detroit, both Jameson Williams and Josh Reynolds are listed as questionable. Josh Reynolds I'm less worried about. He was able to practice in full this week. He's been dealing with a groin issue, and he's played through it most of this year. He should be a go, and if he is a go, he'll probably be the number one receiver. Jameson Williams is more doubtful to play just because he hasn't played in so many games. He's coming back from suspension, and they're probably worried about his conditioning at this point. I think Khalif Raymond is a WR4 with upside, so if you're looking for a deep punt play, he's someone to consider. Staying in Detroit, Jahmyr Gibbs was a late week addition to the injury report with a hamstring issue and is listed as doubtful to play this game. I don't think he's going to suit up. It should mean another full workload for David Montgomery. Expect Craig Reynolds to be sprinkled in as well. The hope is that Gibbs' injury is not serious enough to hold him out of next week's game. Staying in the NFC North, Aaron Jones is listed as questionable to play this game. He was able to log limited practices throughout this week and pretty much follow the same protocol last week before ultimately suiting up. He was definitely on a snap count last week, and the hope is that he has another week of practice underneath his belt, another week to recover, and that he's able to get closer to a full workload this week. He's going up against the Raiders on Monday night. It's a great matchup, and with the way A.J. Dillon has been playing, the Packers would be best served to get Jones involved early and often. Jones has been talking about how he wanted more playing time last week. Hopefully they listen to him. Speaking of the Packers-Raiders, Devontae Adams is also questionable to play this game. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. He did not practice all week up until Saturday when he logged a limited session, so he's truly 50-50 to play this game. My hunch is that since he's going up against his former team, he's going to want to be out there. You can call it a revenge game of sorts, but Adams is a pretty tough guy. He's fought through much worse injuries than this. I think he's going to be out there. Whether or not he plays a full complement of snaps remains to be seen, but I would definitely have a contingency plan just in case he is deemed inactive. Another ailing wide receiver is T. Higgins. He looks like he's going to be ruled out for this game. The Bengals haven't come out and done it officially. He's still listed as questionable, but there are a lot of reports around the league saying that he's not going to suit up. He's dealing with a rib fracture. They probably want to get him rest for at least 1 week. This is going to come down to a pain tolerance issue. Higgins is in a contract year, so he has every incentive to get out there as fast as possible. And with the Bengals season quickly slipping away, I'm sure they're going to want to get him out there as fast as possible too. Look for another option this week. Higgins looks like he's not going to be able to go. You may want to pick up Tyler Boyd. He's probably a low-end WR3 at best, but if you're looking for a spot starter, he may be someone to consider. Next, Rhamondre Stevenson. Rhamondre Stevenson is dealing with a thigh issue. He was able to practice all week in limited fashion, so the expectation is that he's going to be able to play and handle a full complement of snaps. Next, this one's been on a lot of people's minds this week, but Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is listed as having a quad issue and a hip flexor issue, but Williams has come out and said it's mostly a hip issue. He did not practice on Wednesday, got a limited practice on Thursday, and then got a full practice on Friday. But from how he sounded, it seems like his status is truly 50-50. If he isn't able to suit up, Jaleel McLaughlin should get a pretty good look and pretty much a full workload, so he's definitely a start. Samaje Perine will obviously get a lot of work too, but if Williams does play, he may be on a snap count or maybe limited, so he's pretty risky if he does suit up. At this point, I probably plan to look elsewhere just because it's not worth the risk. Ultimately, I would assume that the Broncos are going to keep him out of this game and save him for week 6 when they play on Thursday night. This is also a tough matchup against the Jets, so I would really just plan to look elsewhere. If McLaughlin is available in your league, he's definitely worth a pickup and a start if Williams is out. Next, Pat Freiermuth. Freiermuth is ruled out of this game with a hamstring issue. Look for rookie Darnell Washington to get the start. He's definitely a dart throw in deeper leagues. So hopefully Freiermuth is able to get some rest over the bye week, which is next week, and come back week 7 a little bit healthier. Then Treylon Burks. Burks looks like he's set to miss his second consecutive game with a knee issue. DeAndre Hopkins should continue being a target monster this week, and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine should get whatever is left. You really can't trust Chigga at this point, and this offense should continue to run through Derrick Henry. Next up, Saquon Barkley. Barkley's still nursing a high ankle sprain, but he was able to practice in limited fashion all week this week. I think he has a real 50-50 chance to suit up, but even if he does, he's at high risk for being limited or possibly re-injuring his ankle. It doesn't help that the Giants are missing their starting left tackle and their center, so it's going to be an uphill battle for him if he is able to get back on the field. I would plan for him to not play this game, and even if he does, I would really temper your expectations in terms of production. Lastly, Zay Jones. Zay Jones is listed as questionable to play this week. He was able to log limited practices throughout the week, but I think his status is truly 50-50. And since this is an early morning game in London, I would probably plan to look elsewhere. I don't think it's worth the risk at this point. Even if he does suit up, you're not really sure how healthy he is and what his role is going to be. And with how good Christian Kirk has looked, I think he may end up being the third option at best this week. That rounds out the injury news and updates heading into week 5. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and let me know your thoughts on week 5 in the comments below.